The movie opens on Christmas Eve. Kris Kringle, or Santa Claus, Brian Brendel, enters a house to deliver presents. He's found by a touch woman, Noell, Oakley Bull. Kris jokingly asks the girl to not tell that she saw him, however we tend to quickly learn that he is taking part in along, as Noell is Kris's daughter. Her brother Nick, Owen Vaccaro, and their mother, Julie Haggerty, get along for his or her presents. Kris offers Nick a Santa hat, taking the time to reveal that he is selecting Nick as his successor. The family is excited, but once Noell asks what her job will be once she grows up, Kris states that she is going to basically unfold Christmas cheer to assist Nick do his job properly. Noell accepts, however, is visibly disappointed. Within the present, Noell, now vied by Pakistani monetary unit Kendrick, works aboard Nick, now played by Bill Hader, who has haunted the mantle as Santa since their father passed on to the great beyond 5 months ago. Nick isn't significantly sensible at his job, perpetually doing things like bally the sleigh. They conjointly work alongside their nerdy tech-based relation Gabe, Billy Eichner. Noell takes Nick through the ropes of being Santa, reminiscent of getting into chimneys, guiding the reindeer, and decisive that youngsters are naughty or nice and what gifts they get. Nick gets thus tired and stressed out, stating he might use a vacation. Noell then suggests that he take the weekend off and decide any spot within the world to hold out and unwind. Nick likes the concept and takes her informed it. The Pole finds that Nick is missing, and that they freak out at the prospect of Christmas occurring while not their Santa. Once it's discovered that Noell gave Nick the idea, everybody turns on her and shuns her, going away her upset. The Christmas judges then decide Gabe because the new Santa per their guidelines. Whereas rebuke head elf and former nanny Polly, Shirley MacLaine. Noell figures that Nick has gone to Phoenix, Arizona. They're going to the sleigh and argue over going off to search out Nick, however they accidentally get the deer to fly off and take them on a sleigh ride outside the North Pole. Once they arrive there, they're taken into custody. Gabe and Mrs. Kringle before long find out Noell and Polly need to meet with a manager, Helen Rojas, Diana Maria Riva, to drop charges for purportedly soliciting on the grounds wherever they landed. Unfortunately, they can't get the deer to move, and Polly needs to keep behind to observe them, whereas Noell cracks to search out Nick by herself. She comes across a non-public investigator named Jake Hapman, Kingsley Benadir, to assist her find him. Noell tells the reality, however, comes off sort of a crazy person. Jake is distrustful because of his divorce and having to share custody of his son Alex, Maceo Smedley. When serving to Jake out with contacting Alex, she finds Helen and Polly. So helps Helen connect with a handsome Petco manager that she incorporates a crush on. This lets Noell get store credit, and conjointly a brief place to stay. Gabe begins to require over the naughty or nice determination exploitation his new app Falala. He believes that solely lower than 3,000 youngsters within the world will qualify as nice because of a bunch of petty mistakes that slide them nearer to the naughty side. The remainder of the poll isn't proud of these calculations. Noell goes to Jake's living accommodations and meets Alex. She offers him the shop merchandise as payment for the investigation on Nick. Jake says that no alternative major hospital, morgue, or jail has seen Nick, in order that they figure the last places to see him are the shelters. She meets a deaf woman named Michelle, Shaylee Mansfield, and her mother. She charms the microscopic girl and realizes herself communication in sign language, despite ne'er learning it. They don't find Nick there. She continues hanging out with Jake and Alex, eventually finding that Nick is teaching at a yoga studio. On the thanks to find Nick, Jake expresses his insecurities as a single father to Noell when they drop Alex off together with his ma. Noell arrives at the yoga studio and shocks Nick when she shows up. They're excited to envision one another till Noell tells him that matters at the pole is serious. Nick has little interest in going back, as Noelle stresses. However, the pressure is on her to bring him back. She goes back to Polly and is found by her pet from the North Pole, a tiny low deer named Snowcone. He brings her a message from her mom to tell her. However, Gabe is ruination the approach they run things at the pole. Once they attempt to run back and find Nick at the studio, they find it closed till when Christmas. Snowcone helps Noelle track Nick to a park wherever they're doing silent meditation, that becomes less silent when Noelle tries to bring Nick back. He rebuffs her once more until she leaves him the note from their mom. Nick runs to the mall to search out Noelle and Polly. He needs to assist her, however feels that he doesn't have the twinkle that produces Santa who he's. They create as a mall Santa and elf to bring joy to kids. However, Nick finds it exhausting once he is met by grouchy youngsters who seen they were naughty through Gabe's app. Meanwhile, Noelle tells Jake the reality concerning herself and her brother. However, he doesn't expire and leaves her. The opposite mall Santa that really works there shows up, that ends up in Noelle fighting him and a security guard, which gets her arrested. Matters at the pole gets worse, and also the word of children being denied presents becomes big news. Noelle is placed in, and exceedingly in a very psych ward because of her supposed delusions. She expresses her unhappiness over her lack of purpose as an adult and living within the shadow of her father and brother. She is bailed out by Jake, who isn't happy that Noelle knew personal things concerning them, through magic, however remains appreciative for her efforts to create Alex happy. Nick and Polly then reveal the flying sleigh to a shocked Jake and the doctor. Jake lets Noelle escape on the sleigh. The trio come back to the pole to possess Nick reassume his duties. However, Nick announces that he needs to pass away the mantle to Noelle. There are protests because of the thought of getting a feminine Santa. However, the elder elves decide that Noelle embodies all that produces a Santa, somebody who evokes and spreads Christmas cheer. When delivering a dear speech on what Christmas means that to her, Noelle is formally declared the new Santa. Noelle begins her duties, but gets terribly nervous as she prepares herself. She messes up many times, reminiscent of progressing to the incorrect houses, and it brings her spirit down, creating her suppose she isn't as capable of doing the work the approach her father did. She stops at the shelter and accidentally wakes up Michelle and her mom. Michelle acknowledges Noelle as Santa, and soon, the opposite patrons do too. This lifts her spirits and allows her to try and do her job higher. She finishes by taking Jake Topi time with Alex and his ex-wife, because the boy had wished the complete time. With the pole doing abundant better, Noelle says that her life is even better currently, that she gets to give gifts rather than receive them. Subscribe my channel for more like this movie review. Thank you for watching.